Hello friends, it is Mrs. P. I'm here to do my check-in and my budget for the second week. So the check-in is for the first week of September. The budget is for the second week of September. So I like to do them together because it just makes sense that way. I am going to go ahead. Everything has cleared the bank, so I want to go ahead and do my check-in. So as I said, this is for week number 1 of September. Although our September budget started on August 28th, just because of the way the paychecks fell. So we're going to go ahead and start with income. We have my husband's income came in higher at $1089.57. I'm looking at my draft. So it was higher than we had budgeted for, which is good. Mrs. P, mine came in lower. And I had forgot it was because I signed up for something called like Teledoc through the school. It's like a supplemental thing that you can sign up for. I have a cancer policy, like a supplemental insurance for cancer. Cancer runs in my family, so I just want to be protected in the event something like that happens. But also, a coworker was telling me about how she had Teledoc and how like little things like ear infections or stomach virus, whatever, where you would have to like take a whole day off of work and go into the doctor and get a prescription, all that stuff. You can just do it like through like calling them and doing like a mobile visit, I guess. And I can't remember. Well, it's probably about, I think $14 or something like that comes out of my check. And so that's why my check is smaller. Other $100 came in as expected. I will say that teachers have not gotten a raise in North Carolina yet. They never pass the budget when they're supposed to. They always fight over all the little things. So if we get a raise, it will be later on down the road. I'm not expecting one. We got one last year. So anyway, our income came in at $4,465.50. All right, so bills. We had our mortgage come out for $1,260. Microsoft came out for $21.39. Title came out also for $21.39. And we have a little extra bill here. My boys and I love watching football. And so they were begging me to go in like a 3-way like purchase for the NFL package, which is like over $400, I think, for the package. But I looked around online and teachers get a discount. So FYI, if you are a teacher, you can get a discount for the NFL package, and it's $198. And when I went to check out, so 198 divided by 3 is much better than 400 divided by 3. And then nobody misses their favorite team. So I did purchase that. So that was the NFL package. And I went ahead and paid for the initial, like it's broken down into 8 payments. It didn't give me the option to pay for it all at once, and so we'll just pay the monthly payments. It's not anymore. There's no interest or anything like that. So it was $26.49. Both of my boys owe me $8 each. I will get that at some point. I'm not worried about those $8 because it will make everybody happy on Sundays. All right, so that is our bills. So it was $1329.27. So that gives us $3,136.23 remaining. I had taken out $190 for our sinking funds, $400 to go towards savings. So that was a total of $590, leaving us with $2,546.23. All right, so moving on over to this area. Groceries, we took out $150, pets $20, household $20, $30 for Mr. P, $50 for Mrs. P, $15 for Miss P, $25 for eating out, $70 for gas, $20 for giving. Nothing unbudgeted, but we did have a medical expense. So I am going to put medical And I did pull some money out of a sinking fund, but it wasn't enough. I will account for that eventually in the budget, but I'm going to go ahead and just say 0 for medical, and that we budgeted, and we paid $137. That included, oh goodness gracious. Okay, so my husband was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He already picked up his prescription, which was $193, his pay. This was maybe the glucose stuff, like to test his sugar. I'm not sure. But anyway, $137. So this section was $537, leaving us with $2,009.23. Most likely, I'm going to take the money that I pulled from the sinking funds. It was not even close to this. I think it might have been like $70 or so. I can't remember. But I just put it into the safe, and that will just go back into our cash stuffing. So instead of taking more out of the bank, I'll just add that to what cash we need. So that's how I do that. Truck, we paid the $470, and that was all the debt we had to cover. So this leaves us with $1539.23. I made the $60 debt payment to Bank of America. I plan on doing this every Thursday or Friday, and that left us with $1,479.23 to roll over to week 2. All right, and that's what I will apply that whole thing just to our buffer, so that we have nothing to, play with. All right, so that is the check-in. Now we are going to check in with my variable expenses. This is the stuff that I track in my wallet, or from my wallet. This will be for September, and that's 2025. Can you believe it won't be long? I feel like it'll just be, right around the corner. We'll be writing 2026 there. I got groceries twice. I did not do a groceries haul. I am so sorry, guys. Life just got really busy. So hopefully this week you will get another grocery haul. All right, so for groceries, I did buy groceries on August 30th. We just needed a few things to go camping with, and so I got that at Walmart, and that was $36. Actually, I think this was at Ingles, but I'm going to just leave it there. And then, there's a messed up. On the 1st, November 1st, I did a Walmart delivery. Guys, I was so tired, and we had so much to do to get ready for school. I just said, you know what, let's just have it delivered. All I was out was the tip, which, was the gas money I would have spent going to town. So we spent $101, and that does include the tip and everything. So $101 on groceries. Then pets also came from the Walmart delivery, and that was for $10, almost even. Household also came in that Walmart delivery order, and that was for $22. No eating out. Gas, we got gas twice. Once was for my car, $8.29. I'm going to put car, and I'm going to put $40. And then we also got gas on the 30th for the generator for the camper. So I'm going to put generator, and that was for $30. Okay, and then no unbudgeted. All right, so that's all our categories that we are tracking. We did spend a little extra on groceries this week, but it seems like if we go light one week, it'll be a little bit heavier this week, but we still stayed in budget, which is awesome. All right, so that is that. So my check-in is done. So now I need to budget for week number 2 of September. I keep wanting to say August because I'm like still in like disbelief that we are already thinking fall. But here we are. Okay, so here we are. All right, let me get my draft. Maybe. Maybe I'll get my draft. All right, so this is going to be for the dates. September 4th through the 10th. All right, I'm going to zoom you in. All right, so for rollover, You guys saw we are expecting, oh my goodness. Guys, hold on a second. I need to update my draft. Okay, I'm back. I had not finished doing all the numbers on my draft. I thought I had done that last night, but apparently I got sleepy and went to bed instead. All right, so for rollover, we are expecting $1,479. For Mr. P, we are expecting $1,000. Should be over. He did say he had some overtime last week. And then other, I am going to go ahead and get that $16 from my boys. It's very easy. Both of their accounts are still connected to mine. It's been that way since they were teenagers and they weren't old enough to have like an account on their own. And I've asked them, do y'all want to disconnect it? Because you're adults now. And they're like, no, Mom. It's just easy when we owe you money. You could just transfer it. So, anyway, that is, when they get married, I'm sure their wives will say, you don't need to be connected to your mama's stuff anymore. But anyway, and they both have accounts outside of that one account because they both live outside of town. And so they had to have local banks, but they also still have their credit union account. Anyway, all right, $24.95 is what we will be budgeting this week. All right, so we've got some bills coming in. We've got Life 360, and that is $9. Car wash is $43. iRobot, $32. And Mr. P Hobby is $61. All right, so all of those add up to be $145, which leaves us with $23.50. All right, so for sinking funds, we are planning on taking out $180. And then for savings, this should stay the same every week at $400 unless something crazy happens. So that's $580, and that leaves us with $1770. All right, here are our variable expenses. It has not changed. We're doing really good with just keeping things as they are. Once you get, it figured out, it seems to go pretty well, especially if you have like sinking funds to cover the extra things. For example, holidays, like if you plan, like if you have a sinking fund, say for Thanksgiving, then you don't have to worry about using your grocery money to pay for things that you would cook for your family. Like if you go to other places to eat or whatever and you have to bring a dish. I just have found that having those sinking funds really helps with the grocery bill because I don't have any unexpected expenses. I do occasionally go over, but not very often. All right, so groceries $150, pets $20, household $20, Mr. P $30, Mrs. P $50, $15 for Miss P, $25 for eating out, $70 for gas, $20 for giving, and $0 for unbudgeted, which is $400, leaving us at $1,370. We do not have any debts to pay this week. $1,370 comes down. Then we are going to make an extra debt payment to Bank of America, and that's going to be $60, and that will leave us with $1,310. And that $1,310 is what we'll just call the buffer, and that just sits on the account. That's its job, is just to sit there and look pretty and not tempt any of us to spend it, because next week it will have a job, and its job will be to pay some of the heavier weeks of bills. And if most people, I think their bills kind of do that, they're heavier on one end of the month than the other. And I think it's smart, especially when you get paid. Like if you get paid every 2 weeks, your checks are bigger. But if you get paid every week, they're smaller. So you've got to kind of save some for the bigger, heavier weeks. But anyway, that is all, my friends. I thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.